What's going on, people? How y'all doing today? Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again with another video. Thanks to you all, the new subscribers, and thanks to you all leaving comments. I see the comments. I just been kind of rolling, hadn't had a chance to address them yet, but I definitely wanted to just tap in with y'all today. A little chilly out here this morning, but I'm actually just going to drop a video. You know what I'm saying? It won't be too long because it's a little brisk out here. You dig? Anyway, so thanks to you all. Like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the content lovers who are the content lovers who see some value in the content that I'm putting out. And this is why I encourage you to start telling your story, because we all have one. Man, today's topic is going to be a topic that I don't know. It's kind of amazing, actually, because have you ever been in a situation where you've been counted out? You've been counted out as in last place, whether it's by family, whether it's by friends, whether it's by relationships, but you've just been counted out, and because you may have a dream, you may have a purpose, you have goals, and you're setting out to make these things happen. And with that, when you're setting out to make, your goals and your dreams come true, sometimes people will count you out. You'll find people who distance themselves from you, just vanish. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's because you on a different trajectory, for your life. So I'm going to title today's video, "The First Shall Be Last and the Last Shall Be First." That's what I'm going to title this video to be. I'm an entrepreneur, and I do not think, and I never thought that I was better than anyone or that I had it going on. For the very, very most part, I'm a very humble individual, and I do speak truth to power. I don't entertain a lot of ignorance, because to get to a certain level, you have to be focused, you know what I'm saying? And that is the approach that I've taken on this journey. And what I traded in, absolutely not. Go to HeCameDuringTheCivil War.com. That's the Chef Joseph's autobiography. HeCameDuringTheCivil War.com. Yep, that's a plug right there. Brought to you by Chef Joseph's Kick Sauce. So to those of you who want to know my story, go pre-order your book, okay? And which will be released on May 1st. So anyway, moving forward. So let's talk about the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I can speak from experience where I look at things that were done to me. Particularly, this is the situation that stands out a lot, is my child's mother. Again, I don't want to get too deep into all that. I've talked about it a lot, but it's definitely written in the book, every step by step, play by play. But I'm just using that as an example of where I was counted out. My self-esteem was robbed, different things like that she did to assassinate my character as a man, straight up. That's exactly what happened to me. And I gave up on life. But when you look back and coming back years later, I'm on top of my game. You know what I'm saying? I'm on top of my game. That don't mean I got it going on, I got the best, whatever. But I'm on top of my game. And if you look at the chef back then versus the chef now, yeah, it was definitely an evolution that had to take place. But I want to drop this video to you to let you know, just because you feel last or you've been counted out, it's never too late. Because a lot of times, you have, different, let's just use, vehicles, or let's use airplanes, where you have the small airplanes that take off on the runway. They're the little small two-seater, training planes. And then you also have the fighter jets, see what I'm saying? They go at Mach 3, Mach 4, Mach 5 speed, you know what I'm saying? Hundreds and hundreds of miles per hour. It's amazing to see, but they're still airplanes, and they still can get to that same destination. One may get there faster or quicker than the other, but that doesn't mean you should count that small plane out, okay? So I want to drop that to you to let you know, because if you feel like you're last, you've been, set apart, or you've been counted out, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because that really shows you who you're dealing with. That shows everything in who you're dealing with, and that's you should really count that as a blessing for real. Blessing, that's another word, but anyway, I'll leave that alone. But that's real talk. That's real talk. But because you've been counted out, or you've been like, set aside, and people don't want to mess with you because they feel like that you're not moving fast enough, or whatever the case is, it's okay. You on your runway, ready to take off. See what I'm saying? And sometimes in life, it's easy to look at people that are further along ahead of you, and then for a certain type of, I'm not saying that you feel this way, but sometimes it could feel a little daunting, that's the word, or a little discouraging, because you see this person that you may be the same age, you may be in the same family, but this person may seem like they're here. There's a situation now that I can, I won't get too deep, but I'll just say it's in a great way. It's nothing negative at all. And it's a situation with can't say and say, but but let's just put it this way. It appeared this way, and then next thing you know, what came behind it supersedes where they are and where they were. But there's not anything to boast. It means that, hey, sometimes you can get yours later in life. So don't get discouraged by that, because sometimes the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So that's why you should never count people out there that are in your life. Don't never judge people that are in your life, because you don't know where they're going. You could take, let's just say, a Hollywood star that was eating in a shelter one day. And next thing you know it, you look up, they own commercials. It's like, how in the world they jump way over there? Yeah, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. But as an entrepreneur, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I basically come to you with content about some of the things that you will go through, when you go through life, and especially if you're building a business, because there are other businesses that seem like they far along ahead of you, but at the end of the day, you have your own lane. That's why it's never good to get jealous of, you see people who are further along ahead of you, because at the end of the day, your time is coming. And so you have to be patient, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep grinding and, and believe in your goals and stuff like that. So anyway, I just want to drop that video, to you, or drop this video to you to let you know the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and that's why you should always, make sure that you're always like an even temper, just like even. Don't go up, don't go down, just kind of fly like an even level, because you never know when your time is coming. And more than that, you don't know when the person behind you will surpass you in whatever it is. And, so that's one thing about it. I never put people down or none of that type of stuff, because you don't know who is who, and you don't know how the Most High can elevate them. But just because you're feeling like you're in last place, man, look, that don't mean nothing. You see people who get wealth very early in life, and next thing you know it, they, several years later, it's all squandered. You know what I'm saying? Then you see people later in life that come into unsurmountable wealth. You know what I'm saying? That, it was their time. And some people may say, well, I'm 50, I'm 60, no, it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? The first shall be last and the last shall be first. Be careful how you treat people. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. Because you never know, that person that gets exalted in the spiritual realm, yeah, for everybody to behold. How do I know? I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to share this video with you all. It's a little chilly outside, but I just want to encourage you that just because you feel like you're last, it doesn't mean that, that you should give up on your dreams and everything like that. I mean, you need to know that. So that's one of the things that pushed me, you know what I'm saying? Because I never let people count me out. I kept going, I kept grinding. And then with grinding and going forward, I never gave up on my dream. And a lot of times when people gave up on me, I never gave up on myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened as an entrepreneur. I put the work in, you know what I'm saying? And I looked up, I've done very well for myself in the companies that I've built, you know what I'm saying? And I don't talk a lot about those things, but like I said, it was a time where people counted me out, you know what I'm saying? But I never let that discourage me. Even to this day, the looks and the side-eye looks and stuff that you get, is because a lot of times people, they don't know their purpose. They haven't found out their destination. And but you can't let that discourage you. And just because you see someone that's flying a little bit higher, man, look, you got wings too. You need to start exercising them things. And you know what? And you can come on up too. You know, it's plenty of room up here in the air. That's one thing I love about flying. I don't know, you know, to those of you who catch flights and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see as far as your eye can see, looking out the airplane window, like for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I can tell you that there was a time I was riding a bicycle with one pedal trying to make it. Now I catch airplanes 40,000 feet up in the air, straight up, you know, by sheer amazement. God is good. You know, but anyway, I just want to encourage y'all that the first shall be last and last shall be first, and never count yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's never too late. Success is never too late to win. Success is never too late to obtain. You have to believe in yourself and understand, because you're not here today does not mean that you won't be there tomorrow. You know, we only have a limited amount of time on this planet. See what I'm saying? And like Morgan Freeman said at the end of the Shawshank Redemption movie, get busy living or get busy dying. It's your choice. I'm out of here. He came during the CivilWar.com, ChefJosephsKicksauce.com. Check those two sites out. If y'all need consultations and stuff, you can book me for a consultation, all right? I got to roll. Peace.